My name is Kimberly Cato, and I'm the registered psychotherapist and CEO of ROOTS Counselling Services, where we purpose to come alongside people who are overwhelmed and perhaps blindsided by life-altering circumstances and give them tools and strategies designed to help them, you know, transform their trauma into triumph. And reach over to Coach Nikki, who's going to lead us in an opening meditation.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And I am grateful to be here and I'm grateful to be in your presence. So thank you all for your time today. Over the next few moments, I am going to be guiding you through a breathwork meditation that will help to ground us and center our attention to the present moment. I imagine that everyone is coming from various walks of life, various days, maybe you rush to get here. So just taking a minute to reconnect with ourselves through our breath. And a brief disclaimer, if at any point during this exercise you feel uncomfortable, just feel free to stop. There is no obligation to participate. Okay, so this breathing technique is called the 557 breathwork activity. And it is helpful because it moves us into the relaxation response. As the parasympathetic nervous system, aka the body's rest and digest response, is activated. So when we are feeling stressed out, we activate the sympathetic nervous system, and that's our body's fight or flight. Our bodies become more tense, our heart rate speeds up, our digestive system shuts down, our immunity is lowered, and all of that jazz. So engaging in a breathing exercise helps to counter that. Historically, this activation served us, and it still does to this day, to be able to get through threatening situations. So being chased by a bear, for instance. But unfortunately, our bodies cannot always distinguish between an actual threat, such as being chased by a bear, or a perceived threat, such as running late, being yelled at, getting stuck in traffic, etc. So I'm just going to be guiding you through this breathing exercise. And as we're doing it, I want to ensure that you are engaging in diaphragmatic breathing. So you're using your diaphragm to breathe. A lot of the times when we breathe from our chest, and it is shallow breathing. So breathing from our belly allows us to take in more air into our bodies. Okay. So we are going to inhale for 5 seconds. Hold your breath for 5 seconds. And then exhale slowly for 7 seconds. Ready? Inhale for 5. Hold for 5. Exhale for 7. We can continue for 2 more rounds. So we're going to inhale for 5. Hold for 5. Exhale for 7. One more time. Inhale for 5. Hold for 5. Exhale for 7. Once you are ready, you can return back to the room. And that's the exercise. I hope this helped you to feel relaxed. Thank you for participating.
NICKI REID, a certified health, life, transformational, and master coach. She helps women survivors of suicide find solace by creating safe spaces for them to be seen, be heard, and feel like they belong so that they can be confident in themselves, mind, body, and soul. Through yoga, aroma therapy, mindfulness, and various alternative medicine practices, Coach NICKI has developed a holistic approach to managing mental health within the Black community. Welcome, NICKI.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, again, for having me. Thank you.
Anybody else have a response from this clip on the panel? Anyone else?
I can share. So many of the things that he mentioned resonated with me, and I have experienced personally. Shame it is, if we allow it to, it will really consume us. In reaching out and being viewed as weak or inadequate or incapable. I know there's that strong Black woman trope as well, that, you know, we need to carry the world, we need to carry our families, we need to carry everything. And it's like, who carries us, you know? And I know that there have been times when I've been told, like he had mentioned, to, like, you know, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Like I've been told to man up, you know, and just keep it going. And we don't want to bring shame to our families. So when we go to our families and those are the responses we receive, we're like, oh, okay. And, you know, for me, I grew up in a very Christian household. So this whole pray about it, yes, absolutely. It was take it to God in prayer, which, please don't get me wrong, I grew up faith-based. I believe in the power of prayer. But as a speaker in the video mentioned, like, that is a piece of the puzzle. Like, keep going, take it further, you know? So there, like I said, there was so much in that clip that resonated with me. And we have plenty of work to do in our communities. And I think a part of that is the lack of education. Like, I know when I first started to realize that I was experiencing mental health challenges, I was in university, I was really anxious, and I was depressed, and I got burnt out. I was working 3 jobs, going to school full time, and there was no like break or refuge. And even that in itself, like, you know, that I was working so hard because, you know, I've grown up with the, you are Black, you are a woman, you have 2 strikes against you. You have to work twice as hard. And I literally like worked myself into the ground. And I remember being burnt out and people around me not realizing what was going on. They're like, get up out of bed. And I'm like, I'm crying at 4 a.m. If I could get up out of bed, I would be getting up out of bed. And it's, you know, I was one of the first people from my generation to graduate from university. So that was a big thing in itself. And it's just like, well, get up, keep going, like, come to church. You know, we'll put in a prayer request for you. What are you going through? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like at the time, I didn't realize it. It's the lack of education, lack of knowledge about the symptoms, things to look forward to, to look out for. It's the lack of education with, you know, family members and being able to identify, you know, what are the signs and symptoms of like mental health challenges. You know, so those are just a few things that came to my mind as I was watching that clip.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you very much for sharing all that. So yeah, I appreciate what you had to share about that.
I'll quickly speak as well. What brought me here really was my personal experiences and navigating mental health. And I'm sure we'll talk more about this later on in the panel discussion. But I am also a survivor of various abuse, mental, emotional, and I am a suicide attempt survivor as well. So I know firsthand how lonely and isolating it is and how much shame I carried for years, dealing with depression, anxiety, and things of that nature. And one of my mentors shared a quote with me, and it is, "We don't heal in isolation, but in community." And since I started sharing my story with other people, I have had nothing but support, people resonating with it. So to tie this all back in together, thank you, Kimberly, for bringing us all together. This is a much needed discussion. While my healing journey with shame is an ongoing thing, I believe it's going to be a lifelong process. There are certain things that I've been able to work through, and I am sharing what I can with other people. And if that means that there is just one person who can receive my message and know that they are not alone and that they are loved and that they are supported, then that's all, just one person. I was in a place where the only way, I thought to get through it was out, and that's not true at all. So to be able to create that safe space and to provide for others and let them know they're not alone. This is it's a part of the human experience, navigating personal, generational, intergenerational, etc.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you're absolutely correct. One of our driving needs as human beings is that need to feel connection, to feel like we belong somewhere. And mental health genuinely has the ability to isolate people into thinking that they are all alone, that there is no one else that can understand or accept them, or appreciate the things that are happening or the things that have happened. And that isolation and that silence and subsequent shame is the thing that locks us away from community. So I really appreciate what you shared, Nikki, in that the developing of safe space and creating those spaces and that awareness for people that they are not alone enables them to feel that sense of community, which really genuinely is the place of healing. So I thank you genuinely for saying that.
You're welcome. Thank you. That was such an edifying conversation, and there were so many points that I didn't get to speak to because I think you're talking about shame, but I feel like intersectionality plays a huge role here, and there are so many different layers, so many different directions that we can take this into. So thank you everyone for participating. This was a very, very edifying conversation. Okay, so
Wait, before you start your meds, how do we know when the next one is? Like the next session?
You're muted, Kimberly. We can't hear you.
What?
Okay. I'm sorry. Thanks, Nikki. I'll be sending you an email, and I'll be speaking after the meditation as well. But I'll be sending everybody an email with next dates, next times, and once you've signed up for this event, then your email comes to me, and I will send you out links and information as the video is completed, I'll make sure that you get it, and then I'll also let you know when the next date and time is. Thank you for asking. Any other questions you can put in the chat, and I promise I will read them. But we're just going to close out in the meditation, and then after Nikki is finished the meditation, I'll just say a few goodbyes and comments and things. Thank you, Nikki.
Okay, you're welcome. So on speaking about shame, one thing that has helped me in working through shame is changing the narratives that I tell myself. And I do this through reciting affirmations. So affirmations are positive statements that help us to counter negative or unsupportive thoughts. So I'm gonna take a moment to guide you through an affirmation meditation. Again, just as earlier on, if at any point during this exercise you feel uncomfortable, please feel free to sit this one out. There's no obligation to participate. Okay, so get into a comfortable position. You have the option to close your eyes or you can lower your gaze. Totally up to you, whatever you feel comfortable doing. You can place your left hand or any hand, it doesn't matter, over your heart and your other hand over your belly. And just take a moment to check in with your breath and your breathing. Not judging it or anything like that, just observing it and allowing it to just be. So I'm going to recite an affirmation, and you can repeat them quietly to yourself or out loud. And we are going to be breathing in between each affirmation. Okay, so let's begin. Repeat after me. I am safe. I am loved. I am supported. I am deserving of love, safety, and belonging. I am deserving of self-compassion. I am worthy and deserving of support. I am releasing all shame, guilt, and judgment. I am releasing all thoughts and situations that do not support me. I am greater than my circumstances. I am healthy, whole. I am a divine being having a human experience. When you're ready, feel free to open your eyes and return back to the room. I invite you to spend a few minutes either at the beginning of your day or at the end of your day to engage in this practice. You can do so with your own affirmations or with the ones that I shared with you all tonight. Thank you all so much for participating. It was a pleasure to be here with you, and be well.
Thank you so much, Nikki.